Welcome to Faith Stories with Dawn DeMarco Buck. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they will see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Matthew 5:16.
Well, hello and welcome to Faith Stories. I'm Dawn DeMarco Buck. What is Faith Stories? Faith Stories are Christians from all walks of life who share their stories of faith, hope, and love. And my prayer is that you would come to know your Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So how do you do that? Through His Word, which is the Bible. So if you need a Bible, please reach out to me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com and I will get you a Bible into your hands. All right, you guys, we have a very special lady today. Her name is Rachel Scott, and she is a passionate defender of God's design for the family. As an ambassador for the faith, Rachel is on a mission to lead people back to the biblical principles that form the foundation for strong, enduring families. So, we're going to meet her right after these messages, you guys.
Broughton Garage Door Sales now offers you a difference with the LiftMaster Secure View Ultra Quiet Smart Opener with camera, LED 360-degree lighting, and battery backup. Built-in camera adds video and two-way audio communication to the MyQ app. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. Schedule today at Broughton.com.
Just simply call Broughton, we open doors for you.
Tavilla Properties, located at 11471 West Sample Road, Suite 17, located in Coral Springs, Florida, for all your commercial needs. Call Jan at 954-341-1632. That's 954-341-1632, or visit www.tavillaproperties.com.
Discover Rosie's Garden. The collection draws inspiration from the beautiful niece of the founder, Rosie, who brought joy to many before passing too soon. Her beauty and spirit are reflected in every piece. Founded by two friends, Rosie's Garden is a female-owned brand passionate about creating stunning, elegant jewelry that embodies the concept of bellissima, the Italian word for beautiful. With a philosophy rooted in grace and elegance, the brand crafts each piece of jewelry using only the finest materials, including 18-karat gold and the highest quality craftsmanship, ensuring that every piece is a true work of art.
Welcome back to Faith Stories. If you have any prayer requests, please email me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. That's faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. And welcome back. Okay, you guys, I realize I don't have my rose on today. I totally spaced. Anyway, okay, so Rachel Scott was referred to me by Andrea Hazim, and thank you, Andrea, for introducing me to your amazing friend. So Rachel, we talked many months ago.
Yes. And
I remember saying to you, okay, you need to have back-to-back shows because it's just incredible. Everything, who you are, what God's doing in your life. She's a mom of 8 kids, you guys. She had my children because I didn't have any. That's a lot of kids.
Yeah.
So tell us about, your
My story?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because your husband, there's an amazing story there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm just going to throw it to you,
Okay.
and then I'm going to interject.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, so the story starts out in high school.
Uh-huh.
I met my husband. He was my high school
Oh,
sweetheart.
I
We
love
met
that.
at youth group in church.
Of course you did.
Yes. And when we met, it was love at first sight. And of course, we planned to grow old together and to spend our life together. At the time, we were not planning to have children ever.
Really?
That was, yes.
Oh my gosh!
We were not planning ever because my favorite line was to say, I don't want anything calling me mommy. But we were young.
And then God laughs.
So our story is so crazy though, because we were very indoctrinated that you're to be a responsible believer, and don't you ever have more children than you can afford, and all that kind of crazy stuff. And so we did what they said, and we had one child, and then we were done, and then 5 years later we had another, and then we were done, and then we don't know how we conceived child number 3, and then we were done, and then with child number 4, my husband was like, I am ending this. And so long story short, we were in a church at the time that was very much into making sure you ended it. It was preached from the pulpit that you should, get sterilized and stop having children. Yes. Lovely pastor, but that was my one downfall. So long story short, my husband decided behind my back to go get a vasectomy appointment.
How old are you guys by this time?
By this time, late 30s.
Okay.
And so, long story short, the night before his appointment that I don't know about, and believe me, I didn't want any more children. I just was a health person, and so I was like, I don't know if this is healthy for you to do this.
Right.
So I'm like fighting on the side of health, but not on the side of more children. He had a dream. He had a really incredible dream, and in that dream, God basically told him he would be ruining God's plan. And from that...
Okay. So you guys, you have to understand, God speaks to you in many different ways, whether it's through his word, through dreams, through other people.
Right.
And you really need to have ears to hear and eyes to see.
Yes.
And that's so important, right?
So important. So anyways, people have told us that was a real dream, whatever.
I love when people say that, because it's like, that's what happened to him. And to say that didn't happen is so ingenuous.
Right.
Honor that.
Right.
Honor what he's
I
saying.
agree with you, because God works in all kinds of ways. So in my husband's way, God had to give him a dream to basically
wake him up.
He saw an angel and a flaming sword. Long story short, the Lord said, do not abort the plan of the Lord. But when he woke up, and the days went by, we're like, what plan? Like, what in the world is this dream about? And no one could interpret it for us. Years go by. We still don't know what God was talking about. And then one day the Lord said, I want you to, I felt like God impressed on my heart, look up the word in the Bible, the word family and child and children. And as that happened, it birthed a book in me, and it put us on a new journey. And the new journey was to find out what's God's plan for the family, and why weren't we ever taught it in all the 30 or 40 years we'd already been in church.
Oh my God.
And so God unfolded his plan for the family for me, and I wrote a book called Birthing God's Mighty Warriors, and after that I was on a whole lot of national TV.
Well, okay, you're jumping way ahead, girls. So let's backtrack. Okay. So you have 4 children at this time.
Yes.
So go from there.
Well, from there, we waited about 4, almost 5 years, because we didn't understand the dream.
What was happening.
And so what God was doing was showing us that God's vision for the family is children, and that we had been told that it wasn't, and that God has a plan for all families to have children, and that it's probably one of the biggest lies we've been told since the birth control pill came out. We were taught to be responsible and never the biggest issue is people just don't ask God. They just assume, how many children do you want? Oh, we want 2. Okay, that's nice. Nobody goes and says, Lord, do you have a plan for my family that I don't know about?
Yeah,
because he had a plan for our family that we didn't know about.
No, exactly. And usually we don't. And it's funny that you say that, because in my mind, I knew I did not want to have kids, because I babysat in my teen years for my neighbor who was beautiful, and she was always going out, and she had 4 kids. And so I said to my dad at 12 years old, I said, Dad, I don't want kids. And he said, oh, you wait, you'll fall in love. Well, I didn't fall in love until my mid-40s. So there you go. It wasn't in the plan for me. It just wasn't. But anyway, let's get back to you.
Yes. And that's a big issue right now. A lot of people feel the same as you.
Yeah.
But, okay, back to us. So eventually we had another child, but it was 5 years later. We felt finally God had shown us enough that his plan was to have more children.
Right. So this is your 5th child.
5th child. So in 5.5 years, I had 4 children. So, and that was my last one was at 43. So,
okay, wait a minute. So you had 5 children. I thought you
I
said
only
you
had 4. Then we waited 5 years, and I had 4 more. So I have the first 4. And then I have the
spread
last
out,
4.
but then the last 4 came
like
bam,
right,
bam,
right.
bam.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
So now you're a family of
8 children.
10.
Yes, family
Like
of
the Brady
10.
Bunch.
Yes.
How
Yes.
many daughters, sons?
5 girls and 3 boys.
Wow.
And
okay.
It was really beautiful because my
Woo.
big kids, I purposed in my heart to not make them the babysitters, because I started asking people with large families, they'll say, oh, you have 8 kids. Oh, I'm one of 6.
I have
I'm
a
one of
built-in
And I always
babysitter,
said to
yeah.
them, and how many children do you have now? And they'll say, oh, 1 or 2. And I always, well, why don't you have more? And they always said the same answer every single time. I raised my siblings. I didn't want to raise more children.
Right.
So I realized I have to not let my kids be forced
Yeah.
to babysit. So my kids were on sports teams and dance and cheerleading and all those things. And I sat them down and I said, you're never going to be the babysitter. You guys go live your lives. If I want to go out and a neighbor wants to pay you to babysit, I won't go out, and you're going to make the money. And
Right, exactly.
they all grew up and had large families. So
Oh, that's
it
so
worked.
awesome. So how many grandchildren do
I
you
have 14 and 1 on the way.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
Congratulations.
blessed.
That's a lot of
I'm
grandbabies
blessed. They're
you've
a
got
lot
there.
of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thankful my
Yeah.
brothers all had children.
Yeah.
So, I was very blessed anyway.
So, anyways, during that time,
Mm-hmm.
I wrote this book and started telling everybody about what God had shown us.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people thought we were crazy and didn't read it, but then a bunch of people did.
So you wrote one book or two?
One book.
One book. Okay, so let's go back to your husband, because during that time, something happened with him.
Well, yes, what happened to him was,
And what is the time frame? Was it
Okay.
after the 8 children? or-
yes.
Okay.
So my husband in 2014, so I wrote the book in 2005,
Okay.
and I just re-released it. I
Okay.
did a 20-year update of the book.
Which you can get on Amazon,
yes.
you guys.
Yes.
And what is the name of it again?
Birthing God's Mighty Warriors.
Okay, so we're going to talk more
Yes.
about that book in the second
Second
show
show.
that we're going to have Rachel on. So anyway,
Yes.
go on.
So what happened was my husband was a construction executive, and he worked in a very intense environment. And one day he had a massive stroke. He had a stroke, and it was just a really bad stroke. And he was left completely blind, he was left a bedbound invalid from the stroke. And he was only 53.
Oh my.
And at the time I had a
How, and
8-year-old,
Okay.
a 10-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 13-year-old. And then a 19-year-old who was in Africa when it happened. So,
oh my gosh. So your other
yes.
kids were already out at the house.
The older 3 were
Okay.
grown up,
Okay.
yes. And it was absolutely devastating. It was the last thing I ever thought would happen
Right.
to him or to us, because we just got married and just want to have a great life together.
Right, but you know, look, curves are always thrown at us, and
Right.
in those curves and in those valleys, we grow in our faith.
Exactly.
You know, and so
Yeah.
so as a result, were you taking care of your husband, or did you have nurses that came in, and how did that all happen?
Well, at first we took care of him, but his needs were severe.
It sounds like.
They were severe, and even with all the children helping, at one point we had to put him into a facility, and then I had to go every day
Sure.
because you can't trust a facility.
No, you can't.
And so, not at all. So I basically lived down there with
Yeah.
him. And the reason he was there was because I was given misinformation about his case by up to 50 professionals who told me.
How many?
More than 50, probably.
50,
I kept
50.
asking,
Wow.
is there any way I can bring him home? And long story short, he qualified to come home the entire time, but he was at a facility.
But they wanted your money.
They did.
Isn't that sad?
Even though I kept asking. Anyways, long story short, so I had to live down there basically and be there every day,
Right.
make sure he wasn't over-medicated, and take him to his therapy and all those sorts of things. In the meantime, my children are growing up, and I have to be completely with them, taking them to all
course.
their things and being involved and being both mother and father to them. And I had to work.
Well, I was going to say, well, what about money coming
I
in?
had to
Because your
work.
husband is no longer the
Yes.
breadwinner, or
Yes.
or bringing in money, right?
Yeah, at one time I had 7 jobs.
Oh my gosh, 7 jobs.
Yeah, because I had to I had all these little part-time jobs and a full-time job, and I had to just juggle nonstop. But you know,
By
God
the
did
grace
it.
of God, He carried you.
He carried
no
me
doubt.
and my children.
So what were you feeling through that whole time period? Were you? I'm sure you were crying out to God in the midst of it, right?
Yeah.
And so, tell me more about that.
Well, when it first happened, I was at the hospital for 100 days. I had to, because he was in therapy and everything. I really love the Lord. And this was a really difficult situation.
A trial.
It was the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody, you know. At first, I would wake up in the middle of the night and go,
Oh, I bet.
oh my gosh, I'm still living in the nightmare. He's still down there and he's not here and it's real. And that would happen. That I was under some severe trauma. But you know, when you
I
love,
would
Yeah.
I would agree with
yeah,
that.
it was awful. Yeah, it was awful. I mean, those around me would tell you I put a smile on my face every day and just
You had to
acted
for
like
your
it wasn't
kids.
happening.
Right.
But the trauma and the stress of having to go down to his facility all the time, and then eventually we were able to bring him home. That was a joyous
So
time
that
for
was
him.
how many? So when did that happen?
It was a 9-year period, and he was home. He was in the facility 7 years.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm telling you until my
Oh
children.
my
Yes,
gosh,
this
are
wasn't
you
like
kidding me?
somebody died of terminal cancer and it was 3 months. No, this
7 years he's in the facility,
It was
and you could have brought
horrible.
him home, but nobody told you.
correct,
Oh my gosh, girl.
correct. And it wasn't for lack of asking. Every
Right.
meeting we had, I was like, I want to bring him home, and they would always tell me the same story. He doesn't qualify for care. But then during COVID, I decided he's going to die. We're going to go get him. And then I met a lady who said he qualified the whole time.
Oh my
They
gosh.
just lied to you.
Yeah, because they didn't want to lose the bed.
Yeah.
Because they charge you a bloody fortune.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
if they don't have a waiting list,
He was
then-
so happy at home.
Oh, I bet.
I can't even
He
tell
must
you.
have thrived after that. So let me ask you a question. Did he ever recover his sight?
No.
Okay. So
He never
he's legally
recovered, even
blind.
though we had so much prayer over him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's God's choice what's
Yeah.
going to happen, and we don't always understand why you had to walk through that
Right.
with all the children that
Right.
that you guys said, okay, Lord, we're going to do this, and yet this happens, and you know what? You just have to stand in faith, and it's not an easy thing. People think, oh, you become a Christian and your life is perfect. No, it's not. The trials come. It's just you have your Lord and Savior with you.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah, when he finally came home, so somebody helped us about 4 years in to get a van for him. So I would go down and take him out on dates, and I was able to get him around finally, because prior to that, me and the children had to literally physically pick him up from the wheelchair, put him in our van, bring him home, take his wheelchair. Like, it was a lot of physical.
that's
And my children were growing up, and so I got to where they were all gone, and somebody helped me get a van, and that was a game changer, because
Yeah, that.
I'd go pick him up and bring him home for the day. I'd take him out.
Can he walk, or
He couldn't do anything.
He couldn't do anything.
His entire left side was, and he was prior to this a huge construction executive,
Right.
project executive. So he
Project
was used to having
manager,
100
kinda.
people under him and
wow.
having big jobs, and so it was just very humbling.
Did he have?
He was the
any
nicest guy
signs?
in the world.
Oh, I'm sure he
Nicest,
is.
sweetest, nicest man.
Did he have any signs that you found out later on, or was it just something
Yes.
that just went boom?
No, there were signs.
And what were
but,
those signs?
He had some health markers, and he was a little bit overweight. There was just a whole lot of things. He was your typical man who, because he was a nice guy, just lived his life while the wife's, you should take care of this, you should go that. Like, he was that typical man who thought he was made of iron.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're infallible, and you're not. I know.
No.
And it's funny because when you're married, and women are always the caretaker. And you're like, did you go to the doctor? No, not yet. Did you go? You need to go to the doctor and get a physical, just because,
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
mean, my God.
Yes.
And of course, he didn't listen. And
No, he didn't take it seriously. He didn't
Right.
believe it.
Right. He was fine. But no.
If he knew the suffering he was going to put us through, he never,
wouldn't.
ever,
Right.
ever in a million years would have
course
put our
not.
family through what we went through.
So he can communicate. Is he able to talk?
Up until the end, he could talk to us. Yeah, but it wasn't, it was very limited.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, girl. Up
Yeah.
until the end.
Yeah, in the end, he couldn't talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
One of the saddest things that happened was when I finally was able to bring him home. All the family came over and saw him, and then everybody left because everybody was gone. I had a couple kids at home, but we used to have 8 at home. And the next day, he said, "Where is everybody?" Because he was still talking at the time. I said, "Well, honey, they don't live here anymore." I said, they all grew up, and he wailed. He cried so hard. He wailed. He was in the living room just crying and crying. I said, honey, it's okay. He goes, they're all gone. Because he didn't realize when we saw him on Sundays when I brought him in for lunch, everyone was there, so he thought he didn't realize everybody grew up and moved out and got me. Like, he knew it, but he didn't know it.
It didn't.
And then after he was gone, and I finally calmed him down, he said, I missed everything.
Oh my God.
It was really hard.
Oh, I bet. Oh my God.
He missed everything, all because the system lied to us.
Oh my.
It was so awful. So.
I'm so sorry.
It was hard. Yeah.
So, all right. So, there's 2 tissue boxes right there. Excuse me, I don't usually lean over like that. So we're just going to have that there because, okay, so he's home for how long?
2.5 years.
2.5 years.
His best 2.5 years.
Amen, sister, because he was with you.
I would have had him the whole time if I knew how to do it.
Right.
But they kept telling me he didn't qualify for in-home care, which I later found out, well, that's what they tell you at first, but then you can work the system and find out how to appeal.
But nobody knows
But
the
nobody
system.
told me that.
And that's the problem.
Yes.
So
I know people have hired me now.
I bet.
They hire me to let them know the system because I have 9 years in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is such a gift to share with people because I know when my parents in the whole, you walk through it and you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
You just have no clue.
And they're leading you.
Of course.
The way they want to lead you.
Yes, of course. Okay, so the best 2.5 years.
But I didn't think we'd be talking about this because this isn't really the story about how God did amazing things, but it's knowledge that I learned along the way, for sure.
But this is part of your story, and I think it's something that, that's going to touch someone who watches this.
Yes, well.
And they may reach out to you.
They can, I absolutely.
Do you know
tell
what I
them
mean?
to. I have helped so many people jump through the hoops of the system because it's broken.
Yeah,
and it's ruining people's lives.
Which
and
is
they're
so
manipulating people to get the maximum money, and they do not care. I will look in your camera. They do not care about you or your loved one.
Yeah.
They only care about money, no matter what they tell you. I've had people call, well, they were so nice, and it's just, I'm like, they are lying to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you learn.
It's funny because I know when we put my mom in a memory care facility, and she was only there 2 weeks and she fell. Oh. And she broke her hip. Oh. And they told us she's not here for long.
Wow.
And within 2 months she was gone.
Wow.
And so, so I don't like those facilities either. I'm sorry. I'm like with you, girl.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, let's get back. So your husband, he obviously is in heaven with Jesus now.
Yes.
And
he died almost 3 years ago.
Okay.
We're coming up on that anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he passed away in his sleep?
He passed away at the house, and we were all there.
Okay. And how was
beautiful.
that? I mean, if you don't mind me asking, because a lot of people have amazing experiences when the person crosses over.
He was listening to worship music because we knew he loved worship, and so we said, he's going with Jesus, so we're going to put worship music on, and we're just going to play it around until we know he just goes from this life into the next life. Yeah. His last breath, I was elated, which sounds horrible.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
I was so tired physically and emotionally and spiritually at that point. I literally was like, either he's going to die or I'm going to die. I was so weary because you have to understand, I was in a trial that had no end. It had no end. It just kept going on and on and on and on. The kids were growing up and life was going on. And I mean, I'm so incredibly blessed. My children have all picked unbelievably incredible spouses. They moved on and got their great college degrees. Like, there's nothing but looking at my 8 children where you'd say that family went through a trauma.
Right.
You would have no idea. God has blessed our family exponentially for what we went through.
Right.
But we are all like Jacob, who was touched by an angel and walked the rest of his life with a limp. We will walk the rest of our life with this limp. Right. Because it hurt us to the heart of who we were, because we had to lose the most precious family member, really was Dad and Mom. And I'm still here, but we lost Dad. Yeah. And Dad was just really special, and you're
And
never
so
the same.
so is Mom, because you handled that, obviously with the Lord, but the burden was on you.
was.
Right?
Yeah.
And you just kept going and kept going and
Yes.
kept going. And a lot of times it's the caregiver that goes first, because
Exactly.
it's such a heavy weight.
It is.
And even though you
It
have
is.
faith, that is still,
Yes.
right?
And can we talk a little bit about the body of Christ?
Yes, we can,
Because-
but we have to do it after this
Okay.
commercial break. You guys will be right back.
Broughton Garage Door Sales now offers you a difference with the LiftMaster Secure View Ultra Quiet Smart Opener with camera, LED 360-degree lighting, and battery backup. Built-in camera adds video and two-way audio communication to the MyQ app. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. Schedule today at broughton.com.
Just simply call Broughton. We open doors for you.
Tavilla Properties, located at 11471 West Sample Road, Suite 17, located in Coral Springs, Florida, for all your commercial needs. Call Jan at 954-341-1632. That's 954-341-1632, or visit www.tavilla.properties.com. Discover Rosie's Garden. The collection draws inspiration from the beautiful niece of the founder, Rosie, who brought joy to many before passing too soon. Her beauty and spirit are reflected in every piece. Founded by two friends, Rosie's Garden is a female-owned brand passionate about creating stunning, elegant jewelry that embodies the concept of bellissima, the Italian word for beautiful. With a philosophy rooted in grace and elegance, the brand crafts each piece of jewelry using only the finest materials, including 18-karat gold and the highest quality craftsmanship, ensuring that every piece is a true work of art. Welcome back to Faith Stories. If you have any prayer requests, please email me at faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. That's faithstorieswithdawn@gmail.com. And welcome back. Okay, Rachel, I cut you off because we needed to go to break, but okay, I'm going to throw it back to you.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Well, we were talking in the
Yeah.
break, people always ask me, how in the world did you do what you did?
Right.
And
I know, it's like...
it's, I told you already, I, basically just smiled every day and acted as if it wasn't bothering me, because I didn't want to burden people with what was really going on, because people don't understand.
No,
as
no.
much as they try to.
Right.
They don't understand.
Unless they've walked through it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even
Yeah.
still, if they've walked through something similar,
Right.
I run into a lot of people whose mom was sick for 3 months, or they
Right.
went through terminal
Not
cancer
9
for
years.
6 months, but 9 years
Yeah, it's a long time.
is a really long time. And during that time, I was angry at God.
Oh, I
at
bet you were.
first.
Girl, I'm
But then
right
I
there
wasn't
with
in
you.
touch with it, because
Right.
I was like going
So
with
busy.
it. But at the same time, it was just lots of, Lord, why did this happen? And why is it happening to us? And look at how my children are suffering. Because we were suffering with lack, because my husband wasn't bringing in income and I couldn't make the same income. And so, but God got us through. I mean, people would pay for things for my children. They'd get little side jobs to pay for things they wanted. So they ended up with what they needed, not always what they wanted, but
Right,
what they needed.
right.
But God also, we live in a beautiful area, and it was just amazing. But people ask me, like, how did you do it? Well, this was the beauty of the large family. I had 8 children. And so I got and just assigned them
God.
days. So different days of the weeks,
Right.
different kids would go down and see Dad on top of me being there. And so we worked it like a well-oiled machine, and I just continued to, have everyone see that our family was down there and,
Amazing.
making
Wow.
beautiful strides.
Oh, girlfriend, this was so awesome. Thank
Yes,
you so
thank you.
much. And I'm going to
Yes.
have her back, you
Yes.
guys, and you have to join
For
because
part
she
2.
has so much more to share. It's like the half hour goes way too quick.
does.
So, okay, so next week I have Dana Weiss, excuse me. And she's a jewelry designer that I met a couple months back, and she has an amazing story. She's a Messianic Jew, I believe. Yeah. And I was so excited. I can't wait to have her on. So you guys listen. Next week, Wednesday, 3 o'clock, check it out. Check out our social media and share, because people need to hear faith stories. God bless.
Thank you for watching Faith Stories, where you will hear stories of hope, faith, and love. Please join us next week, and remember, God meets you where you are, but doesn't leave you where you are.